Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we are building a house in The Sims 2 from a floor plan. I will leave the link to this floor plan down below if you guys are interested in seeing what the house is actually supposed to look like in real life. It's from houseplans.com. I used this site so much in The Sims 3 days because whenever I would build a house, I would use this site as like a guide, not necessarily building from the floor plans, but like to use as a guide for different home styles and things like that. This is part of a series that we're going to be doing over time on this channel. I am, as you guys probably are aware of, building up a custom hood on a terrain map that I've talked about before. It's called Pontavène, and this is what I'm calling Lilac Terrace, which is a small side street off of like one of the main streets in this neighborhood. I moved these houses around later on in this series. You guys won't really be able to notice, I don't think, because like I don't show you a neighborhood view because there's really nothing to look at here. But there are 5 houses in this series. I did pre-record all of these videos. This is the first one. However, I'm just sitting down and doing the commentary now. So like all of the builds are finalized. It's just they have to go through editing and I have to do the commentary and stuff. Some of them look much better than others. This, I think, is one of the ones that looks better in my opinion. It's the first one. And because we're going from a house plan that, you know, has measurements and things, it's kind of hard to like guesstimate because The Sims doesn't have a 1-to-1 scale conversion for real world dimensions. I was of the mindset initially when I was younger that like one grid tile is 2 feet or whatever. So if there was a room that was like 12 by 12, it would be 6 by 6 in The Sims. That doesn't always work for everything. There are also a lot of closets and things in real life which like we don't necessarily have use for in The Sims 2. There are closet items that came with apartment life strictly for changing your clothes and using the mirror to like change your appearance and practice the charisma skill and whatnot. And if you have more than one adult in a household, they can woohoo in there. But regardless, the actual like linen closet type stuff and utility closet type stuff and whatever, like a coat closet with random stuff thrown in there, we don't have use for that. So I think that I did a good job converting this floor plan into what we have as the final product. I wanted all of these houses to have driveways, and again, that was part of my issue with trying to visualize this and doing it on a lot where we wouldn't be taking up so much space on the lot, but also where there wouldn't be so much leftover space on the lot. One of the houses coming up, I think it's the second one in this series, there is a ton of space left over, and that house does go through a makeover. We did another video on that because I just did a terrible job converting the floor plan. Eventually, I'm going to go back and add a pool and some other stuff to the yard, maybe a garden or something, like with plots to plant seeds for trees and vegetables and whatever. But for now, this is what we have. I like how this came out. I didn't furnish it fully. I don't furnish all of these fully. Some of them I do add like the basics so they are move-in ready for your Sims, but some of them I just furnish the kitchen and the bathrooms as well as lighting. And in the end, it's still gonna cost a lot of money. These houses are by no means starter homes because of the expensive items that I used in them. I also have this terrible habit of using the same counters over and over again for every kitchen and bathroom that I ever make. Later on in this series though, I do download a bunch of recolors of counters from Mod The Sims, so you guys will see those, but that's not here because I didn't think to look for counter recolors on Mod The Sims or anywhere else, and we are stuck with what we have, as well as the custom counters that I have in my game, which are conversions from The Sims 4 for rent, but that's neither here nor there. If my voice sounds a little off to you, I'm going to address it now. I have a cold. I'm getting over it. I'm kind of near the end of it. It really sucks. I don't know how I got it. It's the end of April when I'm sitting down to record this, and I'm pissed that I'm sick, but it is what it is, and we're getting through it. I hope you guys are doing better than I am. I'm envisioning too in the garage that we put a workbench in there, either for the toy making or the robot making or something, in addition to the car. Unfortunately, in this game, and I get why, but it is annoying, you do have to have a connecting piece in order to put a garage door. So I wanted all the houses to have garages, and I think think you could place it normally if you use move objects. Well, not normally, but you could place it without the connecting piece if you use move objects. But I wanted an option to have a car in the garage. Then when your Sims take the car out, the garage door just opens automatically and they pull out of the driveway and everything is fine. I've been playing a lot more with cars with my families because they do replace the carpool if you set your Sim to own the car themselves. So like for example, I have a few households where there are 2 cars in the household and there are 2 adult Sims, meaning that the 2 adult Sims can take their cars to work instead of having the carpool show up. That is a mechanic in the game. If you set a car as being owned by one of your Sims, you do get a pop-up saying that like the carpool will no longer come, and then when it's time for them to go to work, they just automatically go outside and get into their car and leave to go to work. It's really great. We love The Sims 2. The Sims 4 could never, because there are no cars. You will also see at some point during this video, I do place some laundry items, a washer and a dryer, and I'm pretty sure I put hampers in there as well because you do kind of need those to function. This is a mod. I will link it down below. I am going to have a mod overview video up on my channel at some point of this laundry mod. I think it's really great. It's essentially bringing the laundry system from The Sims 3 into this game with item conversions from The Sims 3 and 4. I talk about it more in my mod overview video. I don't know why in the catalog it has the dryer listed as giving a Hunger 1 buff. I think that maybe the model animations and things were taken from the mini fridge for university, but I don't really care. I have used it extensively in my game in the households that I want to have laundry, and it has worked pretty flawlessly with a couple of weird things happening, not like game breaking, but it's just interesting to like watch, mainly when it comes to the service NPCs like maids, because I haven't tried this with a butler yet, even though butlers can use it too. But we're getting off track here. I don't want to spoil the mod overview video. I can't remember if I mentioned this. I think I did. It was a while ago in a video. I did start reading Long Island Compromise. At that point, I was only like a chapter or 2 in, and I hadn't really formed an opinion on it. I didn't like it. I kept reading. I just wasn't a fan, so I stopped reading it. No shade to the author. I just personally like couldn't get into it. So instead, I've been reading The Royal We, and I'm about halfway through. My loan is due on it in a couple of days for my library, my digital loan. I'm going to extend it because I want to finish it. I don't want to have to send it back and then have to like borrow it again. Luckily, it is giving me the option to renew my loan. Anyway, I really like it so far. It is giving me kind of similar vibes to The Prince and the Apocalypse, which was a book that I read last year in 2024, and I loved that book. I have not read the sequel to it, but this one, even though there are a lot of differences, it does give me kind of similar vibes, like not necessarily in the overall themes, but like the situation at hand and the way that some of the characters and situations are written. I think that they kind of are similar-ish in my opinion, and I'm looking forward to finishing it as well as reading the sequel because I'm pretty sure there is another book after this. It also reminded me of how I should really get to reading the sequel of The Prince and the Apocalypse, so I think I'm going to do that after I finish The Royal We. Actually, I think I'm going to read the sequel to The Royal We and then read the sequel to The Prince and the Apocalypse. I had that one on hold for a really long time, and every time it would come up on my list of like ready to borrow, I would always have it be delivered later and then just keep moving it out further and further and further because I was always reading something else and I didn't have the time or the energy to be reading 2 books at once. So that's basically what I've been up to, at least in terms of like the reading world. Let me know what you are reading down below, if anything, and maybe what your favorite books are right now. Maybe recommend some books to me. I do have a really long to be read list that I'm probably never going to get to at any point in the near future, but it's nice to have stuff to add to it. Overall, I'm very happy with how this house came out. I do think I'm going to change up some of the paint colors in a couple of those bedrooms though. I like to go with more wild colors because I do have all of those custom paint colors from Honeywell on Mod The Sims. They have a lot of really great custom content for build mode and some cool stuff for buy mode, a lot of like recolors and things, but I wasn't really sure like who I could picture living here. So I think that eventually I am probably going to create a family and move them in. I might not play with them, but I'm going to move them in. And what sucks about The Sims 2 is if you don't play with them, then they don't really like age, but whatever. Anyway, we are are done here. I hope you guys liked this house. I really enjoyed building it. It was a nice challenge to do something from a floor plan and try and make it as accurate as possible, and this is definitely a different layout than what I usually go to. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave any comments, feedback, and suggestions down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you want to become a member, you can do that too. You get early access to all my videos. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.